What's going on this week in Nerf?
Welcome to This Week in Nerf, your source for first-party, third-party, and community Nerf news. I'm Adriana, and this week we have a lot of stories that are a little all over the place, so let's just do it. First up, some good news for our friends in the Great White North. Some new Adventure Force blasters are now available in Canada at Walmart, the Spectrum and the Sportsman. And I really do love both of these blasters. The Spectrum's a flywheeler that hits 90 FPS out of the box, has upgrade parts available for it already. It's pretty sweet. And then there's the Sportsman, which has not been getting the love that it deserves. I think that the Pro line has really overshadowed the rest of Dart Zone's offerings, but the Sportsman has a really nice pop when you fire it, a funky hopper system that has really been improved from previous incarnations, and it's just so fun to play with. I highly recommend that you guys pick up these blasters now that you have the chance to. We've got a little bit more news about the Zombie Strike Contractor. It's a pump-action drum blaster that looks like a Sawzall, and it's got lights and sounds, and we've known about this blaster for a little while, but what's new is that we learned this is a Meijer exclusive, and that's a really odd move for Hasbro since Meijer is a regional chain. They don't exist outside of the Midwest United States, and they only have 253 stores. Meijer does sell to the entire country through its website, so it's not impossible to get outside of the Midwest, but it's a really weird move considering like Walmart and Target or even like Ross are much bigger stores. So I don't know why they did this. I don't know if Meijer paid a bunch of money for an exclusive or if Hasbro had a hard time getting the other vendors interested in this specific blaster. Maybe shelf space is getting scarce with things like Adventure Force Pro dominating so much the blaster aisle. It's just weird, guys. And a little bit of news came out about the Ghost Ops Stability Kit. We thought that the Ghost Ops line was on life support, and we mentioned this specific kit a little while back, but we thought it'd been canceled because it's been just so long. This kit consists of a front barrel attachment with an integrated grip and what looks like it could be a flashlight based on the button where your index finger goes. It definitely looks like it has some lights inside, at least in the front barrel. The barrel also has top and side rails as well as an end strike adapter up front, so you can add more barrel attachments if you want to do some coupe-esque shenanigans and get extra tactical with it. The stock is a folding stock, which is cool, but it looks like the plastic rods are really, really flimsy, kind of like the old Spectre and Recon stocks. I imagine that somebody will build a stabilizer kit for this blaster, just like they did with the old stocks, if this ends up being a wide release and not a small one. I feel like we've talked about new Talon mags from Worker a lot recently, but guess what? There's one more. There's now an angled Talon mag. It has a 13-degree angle, and it doesn't have a purpose outside of the look of the thing. It'll be pretty good for anyone who's making a mag and grip blaster, so they don't have to be complete 90-degree angled blasters, because those do look kind of funny. So that'll be good for that specific niche. But outside of that, I don't really know how I feel about them. I'm unsure if they'll actually feed well. Something about it just seems wrong, so we'll have to do some testing and really figure that out. They do require a specific adapter, an angled adapter, just for this specific type of Talon. It won't fit in any of the other existing ones, obviously because of the angle. And that adapter does not come with a manual release at this time. It's one of the older style where you really have to pull it out to eject the mag. And I'm really thinking that due to the angle that some darts are going to have some compatibility issues. It just, on the edge about this one. Blasterlife.com or BlasterDad on Reddit has been toying with an auto pusher design for quite a while now, but he's finally released a Strife Pusher system. His system uses a crank and slide mechanism instead of the more common rack and pinion that we're used to seeing on kits like the XSW kit, and it really seems much less violent than the older system, so hopefully it won't destroy the gearboxes quite as badly. That said, this kit does use the blue gearboxes that have metal gears. We do sell some full metal gearboxes on our website, but just keep in mind when you're buying elsewhere that not all blue gearboxes are full metal. Some have a plastic pinion gear in there that connects to the motor shaft. But besides the gearbox, it requires some M3 screws in common lengths and some tiny, tiny bearings. Files for this Strife kit are available on blasterlife.com along with really amazingly clear and detailed instructions. Seriously, kudos for that guide. It is excellent. And a kit for the Raven will be coming soon, so keep an eye out on his website. From the maker of the Second Wind Sea-Yard Nerf comes another blaster, Breaking Wind, with an interesting name. The best blaster is one that can fire anything. And how do you fire anything? With Spring Thunder shells. So this jolt-like 3D printed blaster uses those shells, and so you can fire elites, you can fire half-lengths, you can fire rival, you can fire boomco. It's awesome. And as with any shell blaster, you have to have some shell ejection, and on trigger release, it drops its shell, and it just seems super, super cool. It is a little bit larger than the Second Wind, but it pushes a lot of air. Sea-Yard Nerf says that the plunger tube is almost the same size as a Talon claw, at least in terms of volume of the plunger tube. That's crazy to fit it in even that small of a form factor. The file set is $15 on Etsy, and you can find the link to that in the description. And even more 3D printed blasters have been released this week. This is a Replica Flintlock from Carney Rex. It is ramrod primed and with all the hassle that comes with that. This thing looks small, but it is super heavy. It uses 400 grams of plastic. Wow, that's a lot. And that's because every piece of this is 3D printed. The only non-printed parts are the rubber bands that actually, power the blaster, and a pin spring used for the trigger. Even the screws are 3D printed screws. It's pretty cool that it has some variable performance based on the number of bands that you use, but it seems to hover around 15 to 20 meters, at least by his range test of the beta version of this blaster. And again, the files are available on his Etsy for $15, and the full blaster is there for almost $150. And if you're interested in this blaster, that might actually be worth considering because this print looks pretty complicated, but also super cool. And that brings us to the mod of the week, and this week it goes to Frankenzilla Mods for this Bad Baba Juju. It is essentially a Stryfe that's been shoved inside of a rough cut shell with this cool sheep's head on the front. The paint just makes it look like a fiery monster. And it's not just modded on the outside with this awesome paint and the cool scale work and integrations being cool. It's modded on the inside too. He's got a full auto kit with a 2-stage trigger leading into worker canted cage, Monkey Mod's barrel. The thing is pretty freaking cool. I absolutely loved looking at this thing. Thanks so much for sharing it. And that is all the news I have for this week. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, the links to everything that I talked about are down in the description, along with the like button, the subscribe button, and all that jazz. You know how to use the site. Everything is fine. Whew. I don't know where, I've been tired all day, and then I just got so much energy, like as soon as I started doing this. Woo! Let's calm down, let's do some editing, let's put up this video, and I will see you guys next week, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here, FoamBlast, youtube.com/FoamBlast.